All right, everyone. It's Dan Ritchie again, president of the Functional Aging Institute, and I'm joined by Laura Wilson of PowerPlate. Laura is one of their global educators and normally would be traveling the world. So I'm not sure what they're doing to keep her busy, because I know she's always on the go and traveling from place to place educating. But she's been gracious enough to speak at our summit live, and also did a recorded session, which is awesome, by the way, because I saw that be filmed at my studio. So Laura is going to teach us basically the science behind PowerPlate and why it really should be a staple for every functional aging training facility in the country. We have 2 of them, Laura, so I'm biased. We absolutely love them. And, you know, honestly, the interesting thing about the PowerPlate with our current climate is I've heard so many people say, well, I could probably keep training with my trainer, you know, via Zoom. I could probably keep training, you know, maybe outdoors, or I could do something online. So many of our clients said, but I can't replicate what the PowerPlate does. I miss using the PowerPlate. I miss warming up on the PowerPlate. I miss the massage after my session on the PowerPlate, right? And so that was, to me, was like, yeah, I mean, there's still, and PowerPlate takes your studio to sort of that next level of, maybe I don't need my trainer, but man, I need my PowerPlate.
Hopefully they don't get rid of us.
So I'm going to let you take it away. I will hop off. I'll be here to moderate, but I'm not going to stay on camera. So take it away.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I know we're thrilled to be able to reach out to you guys this way virtually and still run the whole summit. So hopefully you've been enjoying all of your sessions and just learning, absorbing. So thrilled to be able to speak to you today. Like Dan said, I'm the Global Director of Small Group and Personal Training at PowerPlate. I have worked for several large international fitness brands, always writing programming and presenting, educating master trainers. And we know that the trend is actually moving towards training safely and effectively human movement, and particularly in our active aging populations. And that's really been a focus for me the last year and a half at PowerPlate, to address those populations, kind of the 40 and older population, and making sure that we can just have effective, safe human movement. And what's so amazing is that the PowerPlate can do so much for anyone, but particularly that active aging population. So really excited to share information with you today. And again, if you haven't had a chance to pop into that chat box and just kind of drop what you know about PowerPlate, if you've had the chance to work with them, I'd appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen because I will be speaking to a deck. And if you have questions as we go along and you're thinking about them, write them down, or feel free to put those in the chat as well. So let's go ahead, share my screen here. All right. So the age of independence, it really is amazing what the PowerPlate can do as far as allowing us to live longer, healthier, more highly functioning lives by training on top of the PowerPlate. We know science has shown us that we need to remain physically active in order to really maintain our independence, to prevent falls, and just improve overall wellness and just general feeling good, free of aches, pains. It's about quality of life. So what the PowerPlate does actually is a number of things that we're going to talk about today. We'll talk just generically about PowerPlate and who we are as an organization. Then we'll dive into some of the science and benefits, specifically then to the active aging populations. Then we're going to look at the health and fitness programming that we offer through PowerPlate to you guys here at the Functional Aging Institute, and then hopefully have a little bit of time for questions and answers at the end. So again, feel free to pop into that chat box and just drop anything that you need to, that you're thinking of, so that we don't forget anything, and I can make sure that I have time to address those at the end. So the why, who are we? What is PowerPlate? we really are the pioneer and leader in whole body vibration solutions. And in addition to that, this last year, targeted vibration. We have been working with athletes, teams, companies in over 100 plus countries. And we do have globally accredited training and education in all of those countries. So what exactly does the Power Plate do? Well, it is whole body vibration, which means that it's a vibrating platform and it's going to help you to prepare faster, perform better, and recover quicker. That happens because it's stimulating natural reflexes that are then going to increase muscle activation, which improves our circulation. So we'll dive more into the science in a moment, but honestly, it comes down to something as simple as this. Anything that you do on the floor, whether it's a very simple move or something that's very complex, you can do on top of the Power Plate, and you're just going to do it a little bit better. So when we look back at the history of Power Plate, because we still have a lot of people in the world who have not heard of it, it actually, we're talking about going back to the 70s, being used with the cosmonauts to increase bone density and muscle mass due to that zero gravity setting. We couldn't stay in space. And specifically, I say we, actually the Russians figured it out before we did, that they were able to have their cosmonauts standing on top of a platform that was creating whole body vibration, and it maintained that muscle mass and bone density to allow them to stay in space longer than 150 days. So fast forward, you can see, you know, that celebrities are using it. Power Plate was actually born in 1999. So we're 21. And again, fast forward a little bit further, we're talking about athletes all over the world globally using the Power Plate, large commercial health and fitness, as well as then kind of diving into, rather than just being a retailer and providing equipment, but really focusing starting in 2017 on becoming an education partner. And that's when we really sat down and looked at, okay, what populations, have we been serving as an equipment provider? And let's write programming for trainers to really be able to utilize and support them out in the field. And that's been our evolution as a company. Our most recent evolution is to introduce targeted vibration, which happened this past October. We launched our 3 targeted vibration products, as you can see there on the timeline. So let's talk about vibration. This is when I get really excited. The body responds to the stimulus, and we know Einstein discovered that everything in life is vibration, and it's all around us in many different forms: light, sound, feelings, emotions, ground reaction forces. Every single cell in our body is vibrating. So our body is used to experiencing vibration. The key here is that it's harmonic. The Power Plate is harmonic vibration. That means the quality and the precision of the vibration wave is going to optimize the stimulus and response of the body to be able to perform those reflexive muscle activations. And then we're going to have more work more often. So if you look at the wave there, it's about that precision and consistency, meaning that the body can anticipate and adjust and thus adapt, causing adaptations. Amplitude and frequency are the 2 things that affect the wave and can increase the intensity of the wave. So the amplitude, when we're talking about a Power Plate, is measured primarily in the up and down motion, and it's in millimeters. We have 2 settings, either low or high, 2 millimeters, 4 millimeters, and then frequency is how often is the plate moving. It can go anywhere from 25 all the way up to 50, depending on which Power Plate model we're talking about. So the plate actually does move in 3 directions. I already mentioned that the primary movement is that up and down, but it's also working front to back and side to side as well, all at the same time to create that vibrating wave and those moments of instability. So that happens, our brain senses that instability and has to react in the same way that it would as if you were slipping. So that's that reflexive or subconscious muscle activation that we refer to. We also are experiencing micro hits, and I'm going to steal this straight from Dr. Dan when we filmed our session that's going to be tomorrow, and he spoke about it's like an earthquake happening underneath your feet. I loved that description. So thank you, Dr. Dan, for keying me in, I'm going to be using that one. It's micro hits. We're experiencing ground reaction force, just like our foot hitting the floor and walking. This is just happening multiple times per second. So those micro moments and that ground reaction force is really what we experience then to our body. This then stimulates that natural reflex, and we have a rapid reflexive muscle response because of our proprioceptors or our position sensors. So just diving in then, what exactly is happening in the body? Well, your brain's sensor, the proprioceptors, sense that instability. It stimulates the natural reflex. It sends out that little signal, hey, we have to stabilize. And so we turn on more muscles more often. Because our whole body is experiencing this, more muscles are going to activate, and we're activating every single time the plate moves. So when we talk about the plate moving 30 or 35 times per second, that means we're having 30 or 35 muscle activations per second, as opposed to on the floor, we can generate about 1 to 2 per second. So that's how we turn on more muscles more often. So the response is going to be threefold. We're actually going to have neurological responses because our position sensors, our proprioceptors, have to send out that signal, that afferent signal. We're going to have myofascial and skeletal responses because we're experiencing ground reaction force. We're actually rehydrating and moving the tissue and our fascia. And then circulatory wise, our heart has to pump more blood because more muscles are working. So as a result, we're going to have some crazy, amazing benefits. Our software, our brain, we're going to experience more neuromuscular activation as a result of working on top of the plate, which means that we can enhance motor learning and motor control. So when we start thinking about the outcome in our active aging population, as far as fall prevention, as far as being able to learn or relearn that ability to sit down, stand up, or go up a set of stairs, perhaps after a stroke, or even any other kind of just learning process, making sure that as we age, that we can remain independent and still do basic movements throughout our house, because it is that idea that we can learn at a much quicker pace because we're doing so many more repetitions per second. That's how we advance motor learning, advance motor control. And then a great side effect is that because your brain is so busy with the activations and sensing the instability, it actually desensitizes our pain receptors. So it doesn't feel as hard as it sometimes feels to work out, because although we may say we don't have time or it's too expensive to work out, it often comes down to it just doesn't feel good. We don't like the way working out feels. It feels hard. On the plate, it feels good because our pain receptors are actually dampened. So that's pretty cool. Then we dive into the hardware, which is where we more commonly think about having results when we train with a trainer. And on the power plate, you absolutely have that increase in percentage of muscle fiber recruitment. Again, more muscles more often. Plus, we often have a poor brain-body connection. So we have so many inactive muscles, muscle bodies, muscle fibers. This is going to take that equation out. Because it is subconscious, we can activate muscles to correct movement patterns that we might have inactive muscles in, which is another great thing that we see for our clients. We can also improve strength and power based on appropriate training variables. Metabolic demand is going to increase, increased calorie expenditure due to the number of muscle activations, more muscles doing things more often. And then, just overall flow of movement, range of motion, those kinds of things are going to happen because of circulation, which ties this right into this last bit, are highways. So improved blood flow. In fact, for those of you who have been on a power plate, you might have noticed that you sometimes feel almost itchy or like ants are crawling on your skin. It's because we can push an amazing amount of blood all the way into the capillaries, which often feels itchy or tingly even after you get off the plate. That kind of blood flow doesn't necessarily happen unless we go to anaerobic threshold, maybe zone 4, zone 5, if you look at heart rate zones, which is often not safe for our clients and hard to do and feels not so great. So in this case, we can stimulate that same response without having to take our heart rate to that level. We then experience lymphatic drainage, which we know the importance of. And it's especially now talking about what lymphatic drainage can do to kind of help boost your metabolism and boost your immune system. So just another great side effect. It's going to reduce pain and swelling because we can get blood flow deep inside joints. And we know that that is what helps to recover tissue and ease chronic aches and pains, as well as just reducing that delayed onset muscle soreness. Again, just improving that massage time through massage post-session, which is what Dan spoke to, and how people are saying, hey, I can train with my trainer, but I really miss that massage, that recovery element more than anything from the power plate. So how do we do this? Well, when we're looking at writing programming, whether it be for the active aging population or truly any population, we're always going to stick to what we know works science-wise. We need to prepare, perform, and recover. And prepare, we warm up. So on the power plate, you're going to be writing and addressing something in there to speak to a movement that's going to get soft tissue ready to go, functional flexibility, mobility, and stability. And you'll see this in every program that we write, that there are going to be movement patterns, stretches, etc., that address these three things when we talk about warming up. Then, if the workout is also going to be happening on top of the power plate, because that's the other thing that's amazing, is we can actually do everything on one piece of equipment. We can warm up, workout, and cool down, whether you're doing strength, whether you're doing recovery, whether you're doing cardio, whether you're doing, whatever the workout is, you can do everything just on one piece of equipment. So in that workout section, we're going to do core integration. We know the idea of balance is so important because we lose balance as we age. So the plate can do a lot for that due to that instability that's caused, as well as functional strength and power. Again, making sure that we can maintain strength as we age because our muscle tissues and our bones start to deteriorate. Then as far as the recovery or cool down process, again, going back to functional flexibility and then tying in those soft tissues, perhaps through massage. Now, all of this can happen in a much shorter period of time. So when we talk about maybe working out on the plate for, maybe you're going to do all three of these things, prepare, perform, and recover, and you're going to spend maybe 30 minutes on the plate, that's actually the equivalent to about 85 to 90 minutes of working out on the floor. When we look at the science of how many muscle activations we're having and how much neurological stimulus we're having, 30 minutes on the plate is a lot of work. So we can dial that back and actually get so much more work in much less time, which is another benefit to working on the power plate. So what are we doing in each of these sections? You can see here the training applications. Again, this is just going to help you to know what it is that we're programming when you're looking to use the power plate with your clients. So in that warm up, we really are focusing on increasing range of motion, coordination, balance, stability to prepare for the workout. Then in the workout itself, it's going to help to prevent and reduce risk of injury. It's also going to increase the activation of the muscles, the bones, the fascia, and just allow you to train more effectively in less time. And then for that recovery, it's all about speeding up that recovery process, allowing that recovery process to be kind of painless. I can't claim that you'll never be sore from working on a power plate, but if you do a proper recovery, it's very rare for my clients to actually be sore the next day, even from a very intense workout. And I say this across all populations that I train, just because of that element of driving blood flow back to our tissues and being able to recover so much quicker. So to dive in just a little bit deeper, we can really focus on a couple of key things that we know is going to help these populations. So when we warm up, that's going to increase blood flow, circulation, temperature, and a traditional cardiovascular warm-up is not required. So, for example, I have a client who used to use a recumbent bike. He's 67, has had a hip replaced and 2 knee replacements. He used to use a recumbent bike to warm up because that was probably the most comfortable he could get as far as doing a traditional cardiovascular warm-up prior to training. And this is when he was training at another gym, not with me, that did not have a power plate. So when he switched gyms and he came to train with me, first day when we had a session, and I was looking all around for him, I couldn't find him. He had gotten there 15 minutes earlier, and I found him. He was on a recumbent bike. And I was like, oh, you know, hey, come over here. We're going to actually start warming up on the power plate. And so the next session when he came in, we stuck specifically to the power plate rather than that cardiovascular warm up. And he was a little reluctant. He was like, you know, I'm really worried that my knee is going to hurt because we're not warming up enough. Lo and behold, he found out it actually felt so much better because those first couple of minutes on the plate, or I'm sorry, on the recumbent bike, were actually quite painful for him, even though he was, that was probably the least amount of impact he could choose from the pieces of equipment at the gym. It was still 2 or 3 minutes of, you know, the knees and the hips not feeling good on that recumbent bike, as opposed to the warm up that we did on the power plate, which we were still able to really get that synovial joint fluid moving without having to, you know, go through that painful process, either walking on a treadmill, riding a bike, you know, the more traditional cardiovascular warm-ups. The second thing is that rather than doing 15 minutes, he had always been showing up 15 minutes because he knew that's when he finally started to feel the creaks and the aches starting to go away. We could do 5 minutes on the power plate, and he felt actually less pain in the whole process and equally as warmed up. So it's an amazing tool to be able to take away some of the pain and some of that impact and still allow you to do just as much as if not more with your client. It's also going to increase flexibility and mobility with your clients. Again, we want to be able to train them safe when we get them into that workout section, depending on what their goals are. You know, you're going to adjust that warm up to moves that make the most sense for your particular workout that day. And then we can enhance the body's capacity to learn movement patterns. So muscle memory. We know the importance of muscle memory regardless of your population, whether you're an elite athlete trying to learn a movement pattern, or my everyday kind of stay-at-home mom who's trying to lunge properly, all the way up to my active aging populations being able to sit down, stand up, particularly if they've had any kind of stroke issues. We have to do, you know, 10,000 reps to kind of drive home that muscle memory, which takes a very long time to get to 10,000 reps when you can only do 1 to 2 activations per second. Whereas on the plate, if we can stimulate that 30 to 35 muscle activations per second, we're getting to those 10,000 reps much more quickly. And our brain is being trained in the process too. So it's a great way to kind of speed up the improvement or enhancement of that process. Lastly, it's doing what we know every warm-up needs to do. It's activating the body, getting it ready to move. So we're just getting all those systems ready, the brain, the body, the highways, ready to go for that warm-up. So then when we get to the workout, what is the response? Well, we increase percent fiber recruitment, and we've talked a little bit about that. The key here is oftentimes when we're working with the aging population, we don't want to work out for 90 minutes. That's just not safe. We tend to lose technique and then present that possible risk for injury. So being able to do more in less time, in addition to the other benefits that are happening as a result of working on the plate, is just a win-win for this population as well. Next, stimulating ground reaction force with little to no impact. This is amazing. It is truly life-changing. When I think about the things that I want to do with aging clients, because I know they need to reach XYZ goal to stay safe, healthy, and independent, I can't have them do box jumps. I can't, you know, in most cases, at least not safely, you know, there are restrictions. I'm not going to have them do zone 4 or 5 heart rate. You know, it's difficult to do that in any situation, let alone when I perhaps am working with an aging client. But I know that I still need to stimulate that kind of blood flow because of the amazing things it can do. I still need to simulate ground reaction force so that when they're walking and they step down off a step or a curb going out to their car, they're going to be safe and they can react and their body can catch them. So I can do that having them on a really, I say stable, it's simulating instability. But if you've never seen or felt a power plate, you got to get yourself out there and do so, because you can't see it moving when you're actually looking at it and it's on. So your client standing on top of it is going to be feeling those earthquakes, but it's actually creating very little impact between our joints. And it's certainly safe, especially when we talk about the plates that, for example, Dan has at Miracles Fitness up in West Lafayette, because they have a column so that we can add that little bit of extra stability for them to make them feel safe as they're working on top of the power plate. It's also going to improve metabolic capacity. Sorry, I was stumbling over my words here. As far as, again, we have to pump more blood when more muscles are working, and then improving balance and coordination. Fall prevention, fall prevention, fall prevention. You know, just that ability to be able to balance lessens as we age. Part of it due to the fact that our feet become a little dulled, their proprioceptors become a little dulled, and just muscles are perhaps not as strong to hold us up. And the plate is going to keep that really strong connection between the brain and the body, and that feeling on your feet of instability and keeping those proprioceptors really sharp. So training in your socks or bare feet with these clients is a great added bonus to really keep those proprioceptors engaged and really improve balance and coordination. All right, recover, the last bit, and quite frankly, most people's favorite, because it's going to relieve adhesions, tightness, that massage element that we're talking about here, in addition to that percussive feel of the plate moving, that internal circulation that's still happening. So we're really getting it twofold. We're getting internal pumping of blood from the heart, so it's moving deep into muscle tissues inside of joints, which we know is so hard to do with any kind of massage or even targeted vibration. You know, really driving it inside is nearly impossible, and that's what needs to happen to diminish chronic aches and pains. So we can do that, as well as then that targeted or percussive feel on top of our tissues. What it also does is helps to lower our stress hormone, like cortisol, for example. So our nervous system is going to calm it down at the end of the session, which we know is crucial. We purposely work out to spike that and cause a little bit of stress for our body, but then we need to be able to get it to come back down so we can start that recovery process, and that's how we cause adaptation. As we age, our bodies are less efficient at doing so. So again, making sure that you finish and do the recovery portion of the workouts so that you can help your body to lower those stress hormones, as well as increase blood flow and lymphatic circulation. So it's actually relaxing that nervous system, upregulating the PNS. It's stuff that can't be done with floor work. It's all due to that whole body vibration that's happening as a result of working from the inside out, and then just that great feeling of percussion to the body. So when we look at some key research specifically geared towards the active aging population, we have two really important studies that were done. The first one by Dallas et al. Spoke to how we can actually improve strength. And when it says flexibility and explosive strength of the lower limbs, we're talking about that ability to sit down and stand up and walk upstairs. And the article is linked to our website, so you can go check that out. But the amazing changes and the benefits of working on the plate and the ability to do these two things were shown in that study. And then the second one is the effect of whole body vibration on knee stability. And when we talk about, you know, chronic aches and pains of the knee and keeping the knee safe and strong. Again, as we age, that's another great one to go look up. Again, link to our website if you're interested in reading a little bit more. They're great studies to look at. So how do we really start to then use this with our clients, knowing it does all these amazing things? Well, it's going to offer a really efficient workout. And the great part about it is that we actually write a lot of programming for you guys, and FAI has access to the programming that we have for the active aging to kind of help you know what to do on top of the power plate. Because as you look in this picture and you see the plate there, it looks a little bit like a space machine, and you're thinking, man, I'm not sure what I need to do on top of that. It really is going to change kind of how you think about training if you start putting clients and on top of the power plate and see what they're doing on top of it, because it can do everything from lowering the risk of heart disease to, obviously we think about exercise addressing that idea of obesity, but we're even talking about lowering diabetes, improving the symptoms for arthritic patients. You know, all of these things are a part of what we do. And so much so that the studies have allowed us to actually get several medical certifications. So we have been certified by the FDA, by the Mayo Clinic, as well as the European Class 2A MDD certification. And what this means then is you also have the ability to process clients through physical therapy if they're interested, and you're able to do that at your facility, because we do have those medical certifications that we've been able to achieve. Truly, anyone that is cleared to exercise can get on a plate. There are no contraindications other than, as long as they have been cleared for cardiovascular weight-bearing exercise, they can get on top of a plate. And they're going to also then have some really awesome daily life symptoms, or I shouldn't say symptoms, just benefits. So, you know, I mentioned that idea that it can boost energy, hormonal health, lymphatic flush, and a lot of those other things that we've discussed. So when we relate this again back to that idea of training our active aging clients, we really want to dial into what is it that this particular client needs. Is it fall prevention? Is it coming back from a stroke related incident? Is it just being able to stay active and healthy with their family and the things that they want to do in their life? Is it that they want to continue to live on their own? We can dial into pretty much anything as far as just you being willing to cater and create something that's going to do these things. So we have over 200 studies linked to our webpage, all done by, they're all white papers, none of which we have paid for, specifically about strength, building bone density, alleviating pain, circulation, balance and flexibility, weight management, mood changes, and cellulite reduction. So after this session, if you're interested in something specific that you see on this list, or something specific, honestly, that you don't see on this list, we probably do have, because we're always getting new studies that are being done with the power plate, let us know, okay? We're happy to go searching and sifting for those, and certainly get on the power plate website, because you can look at the 200 papers that are actually linked on our page and do a lot of research on your own. So again, the why. What happens when we don't move? Because that tends to be what happens as we age. We stop moving as much. Well, we know movement is essential, so we start to get tight. Muscles, fascia, they all start to get sticky, and they no longer slide and glide. We also know that our heart starts to have diminished capacity, our lungs. So it's really important that we can use the plate to improve all of these bits and pieces. We're talking about everything from blood sugar levels to the more traditional, functional human movement, but also mood. Your serotonin and your dopamine levels are dramatically increased when working on top of the plate in comparison to working on the floor. So not only are our pain receptors dampened and it doesn't hurt as much, but we actually feel really awesome, kind of like you're floating on a cloud after working out on the power plate due to that hormonal shift that happens as well. So for special populations specifically, we have targeted these items as what we write programming for. So we're talking about building bone density. We have specific programming that's going to address bone health and making sure that we can not only keep them safe, but studies have shown by the Journal of Bone and Mineral Density that we can reverse bone loss and actually take someone from being diagnosed with osteoporosis out of that category. That's pretty powerful. We're talking about getting them off medication, preventing them from needing that medication by working on top of a power plate. Fall prevention. I mentioned that the power plate is very accessible because we can actually put them on a large platform. They can hold on to the column and we can work on top of the plate, the platform, to really improve gait, muscle strength, power, as well as balance, so postural control. Stroke recovery. It significantly will increase that voluntary muscle strength in stroke patients. So we see treatment all the time for stroke patients, working with them on top of the plate to rehab and get them back to where they were before. Obesity and diabetes management is actually going to help stimulate fat loss as well as reduce acute and chronic blood glucose levels. Heart disease, blood pressure, heart rate variability, all of those things are going to be addressed by working on top of the power plate. And injury recovery for the PNS system. So painful straining or worsening of injuries when we're doing, traditional exercises, it's actually helping to stimulate nerve regeneration and bring back normal sensation much more quickly to those damaged areas. So awesome things. In addition to that, we have a couple of really big ones here. Parkinson's disease, 25% improvement in tremors and 24% reduction in rigidity for those Parkinson's patients. That's what studies have shown. Restless leg syndrome. You don't have to be in an active aging population to suffer from that one. I can speak from experience, and it really, really helps. It increases that communication between the brain and body and helps to reduce then or allow for more control of that unnecessary muscle spasm. ALS, stimulating muscle activation, is actually going to help to slow the deterioration that those patients suffer from, and cystic fibrosis as well because of that lymphatic drainage that it's able to stimulate. So frightening facts for that aging population is that 1 in 2 women over 50 will break a bone because of osteoporosis, and 1 in 4 men over 50 will break a bone. 52 million people in the US have osteoporosis or at high risk, and 25% of those who break a hip die within a year. We've got to stay active. We've got to keep our clients training, and the plate is one of the best ways to do it. So I've mentioned these things, and I know you keep thinking, man, Laura, you're driving it home. Yes, I'm driving it home. It's hard to conceptualize if you haven't been on a power plate what it feels like and how we can feel those results quite quickly. But this idea that it can accelerate our training so we can do more in less time. One of my favorite things to have someone who has never felt the plate, one of my favorite things to have them do is stretch their hamstring. 30 seconds on one leg, 30 seconds on the other. And we do a toe touch before. And I ask them, how does it feel? What is your flexibility? Make a note of that. We stretch 30 seconds only on the power plate, each leg, and then do that toe touch again. Inevitably, every time my client has maybe an inch or more increase in flexibility, as well as feeling, warm, tingly. They don't feel that tightness. It feels good when they go to do that stretch. 30 seconds of hamstring stretching on the floor is not going to get us those kind of almost instantaneous results. So that idea that we can accelerate training and make things happen, it's there. It helps you lose weight. It helps with strength and flexibility. You're going to recover faster. So you can honestly do an entire workout in 10, 15 minutes on top of a power plate. So let's dive into some programming. And I I'm hoping that a lot of you on this session are going to be perhaps joining Dan and I tomorrow for the session we did, which was actually a Thrive sample workout. This is the dedicated programming that we're talking about that is available for you as FAI members. We have everything from active aging kind of exercise guidelines, and we're talking about banners, posters with dedicated exercises that are going to address each body part, to something called Healthy Bones, which is an entire program. We have a neuromuscular exercise program. And then we have what's called Thrive. And that's the workout that you actually are going to have tomorrow morning. It is a 12-week periodized program. And we show you just one 30-minute workout. But that program focuses on balance, brain, and bone health in the programming. So it's really about allowing our clients to live longer, happier, healthier, independent lifestyles by targeting those three things, which we know are crucial for clients being able to really live, work, and do their best on their own. So to give you a closer inspection of what's happening, we have visuals as well as videos, as well as geared programming written for trainers themselves to kind of digest. So this can be, something that you use in your facility to assist and help walk up traffic perhaps, or obviously with your trainers themselves. You can see that we're always going to follow that protocol of prepare, perform, recover in any of the programming that we write. So this example is showing you our great start exercises, as the title says right there, that daily stretch and warm up, and kind of the bare bones basics of what we would suggest you do with this population. Then we move into the strength category, and this has actually a back as well to talk about recovery. But in those strength settings, showing you that we can even do work without having our clients get down on the floor, which we know is sometimes an issue in some of our active aging populations, that ability to get down and up. So you can see in these photos here, there's some chair work as well as some plate work. Then we move on to Thrive programming, which is our more robust offering. And in Thrive, you see over to the left there, this is the 12-week periodized format. So in the first month, and we're talking about, these are a workout each week, a brand new workout. Yes, they are periodized to help you get your clients towards that goal of better balance, better brain, and better bone health. You can see in that first month, we're really working on just basic movement. And the focus is about increasing their stability. So we do that by, in our prepare section, in our warm-up, addressing functional flexibility, stability, and mobility. Then we do a strength segment, a balance segment, before we recover with stretch and massage. Then when you move into month 2, you'll see, if you look at the overall 12-week periodized programming, the goal is going to shift a little bit. So now the workouts are going to dive more into functional strength for this population, which will increase their mobility and balance. So the warm-up, the prepare section stays the same. The movements will change based on the workout, but we're still going to address those things that we feel are important in a warm-up. Then we're going to go into, again, a strength segment and a balance segment. But in those sections, things are going to be a little bit different because we're focusing on a slightly different goal in this second month. Then in the third month, it's all about functional strength again, but the focus will be on improving strength or increasing strength. So again, the workouts are targeted toward that overall goal in those last 4 weeks of the programming. Then if you look over to the right, this is what a workout looks like for you as a trainer when you are going to implement this with your client. So it's completely detailed for you so that you know that you can really get the most efficient or effective results without having to spend hours and hours writing 12-week periodized programming, because we all know how busy our plates get, and to get our clients results, we really need to be dialing into periodized programming, making sure that we are looking at those goals and aligning everything. And sometimes, I've had trainers say to me as they were rolling in the door, oh, I hadn't planned my workout yet. I was thinking about it on the drive in to work with their client. that's not the best way to get our clients the results that they're looking to get. So this takes that out of your off your plate and allows you to focus then on other things as a trainer, you know, really coaching them, keeping them safe in the moment, and having a great rapport with them, knowing that you're delivering a great workout in the meantime. So you can see the workouts, the exercises are all broken down for you, from the sets to the number of, or I should say time. It's rather than repetitions, we do everything on time, you know, telling you when to let them take breaks, to hydrate, because we need to do that. It's so important because we're working so hard on top of a power plate, and really steps you through that process each and every workout. So this really is written for the trainer to have on their iPad or their clipboard while training the client. So it's a phenomenal resource that we have at PowerPlate to be able to help you guys really implement great programming on top of the plate, and in this case specific to brain bone and balance for that active population. So many times people who are familiar with PowerPlate know that it's being used by celebrities, or it's being used by really elite athletes. We truly do have programming for everybody, and that even comes down to the software that we have in our plates themselves. So we have everything from active aging, new to exercise, rehabilitation, recovery, specific to a lot of different categories. So even in the software that's included inside the plate itself is going to have a lot of additional resources for you. And if you don't have a power plate that has the software built in, it's actually on the app. The PowerPlate app has all of the programs that are built into our software on the app itself. And it also has a lot more. It has education. It has additional active aging populations that we have in our workouts on demand as well. So who's using the plate when we talk about this population? Primarily the active aging, well, physical therapy, medical, clinical wellness operators, the FAI, I mean, need I say more? FAI, Dr. Dan's using it. But we have facilities like Cooper Aerobics and the Claremont Club actually using this, as well as physical therapists in hospitals globally using the power plate with their clients. Now, this might have been a bit overwhelming. We do have a lot more education. In fact, one of the bare bones that you can go back to right now, even in this world of shelter in place and kind of lack of travel, we do have online Discover workshops, which would be kind of your introductory into PowerPlate and PowerPlate movement just in general. So if you download the PowerPlate app, you can find it in the I'm a Trainer section. You don't have to be a trainer to go through that Discover workshop, but it is a small video montage there. I think 10 7-minute videos. So you can watch them bits and pieces at a time. That is our Discover online version of the live workshop, and you actually can receive CECs for that. So it's a great way to kind of start the process right now when we can't necessarily get to those live workshops since no one is running them at the moment. So you can start there, but you can see that we have a whole litany of different educations that you can take. And I'm thrilled to say that the small group training, which is in that professional level, does cover the Thrive programming. And so that would be, you know, if you're interested in delivering Thrive programming, that would be the certification that you would go through. In addition to obviously doing the Discover workshop, whether it be online or, fingers crossed, eventually we'll be out there and live again. But we even do specialist certifications like fall prevention, pre and postnatal, those types of things up in that specialist category as well. So I mentioned the PowerPlate app. There's loads of stuff on that app. It's continuously refreshed. We just loaded a bunch of things last month specific to the active aging population. So I'd love to have you guys download that and give it a look-see. Sylvie, one of our master trainers who regularly, in addition to myself, works with the active aging population, is the one presenting those sessions on the app. So, oh good, I still have time for questions. I was so afraid I would not. I would like to put my email out there into the world. You are welcome to email me. And then we are going to have a little bit of discussion now because thankfully I raced through that and gave ourselves enough time. I was so afraid I would not.
No, you got plenty of time left.
That's good because I wanted to talk about some things.
Well, what's on your mind? What did you want to talk about?
So let me figure out how to unshare first. Make sure did I unshare? Is it just faces now? No? Okay.
You just have to go down to the share button and hit stop share.
Okay. Oh, I see it now. Look,
there you go.
You would think that with this being almost, what is it, month 3 of doing Zoom, I would have this sorted, but
daily Zoom meetings.
Right.
No.
So now I want to open up conversation and make this a little bit more interactive and ask you, because I see the people who responded in the chat, and some of you have been using On the Plate. Some of you asked, hey, I want to use this on myself for osteoporosis. I would like to just have an open discussion right now. First, the question is, what have you been using the plate for? Those of you who have been on the plate, what have you been using the plate for? Yeah,
so feel free to either unmute yourself. It's actually easier if you turn your video on if you want to speak, or you can just type in. So Sandy says, love the power plate, Pilates clients, dancers. Joy, would you like to make a comment or ask a question?
Sure. I was the one that was interested for osteoporosis. So if I were to get one, I would like to use it in my home, but I work in a small studio, so I would, and one-on-one. So which one should I get if I get one?
Well, Dan can probably speak to that. Are you an FAI member?
I think so. Maybe not. I don't know. I took the course. I don't know if I'm.
Will you be using it with clients or primarily yourself, Joy? That's really the main distinction.
First I would want to work on myself to see how it works before I would, use it with clients. But yes, eventually I'd like to use it with a client.
Yeah.
The reason I ask is honestly just because with FAI you do get a little discounts, which is always nice. But honestly, all of our plates are still certified, those same medical certifications. So regardless of whether you're picking one of the smaller, considered more home plates versus the big Mac Daddy of them all, that's, the biggest plate that's used with the NFL for those very large athletes, each one of them still delivers that same precision harmonic wave. So it's still going to deliver those same results when we speak to, in your case, osteoporosis. And it's a matter of, the research for bone density and osteoporosis and helping to reverse. It doesn't just slow it down. The studies show it reverses bone loss. So we can actually take you out of that category. You might no longer be diagnosed with osteoporosis. That's how amazing it is. And we're talking about, that's the first thing the plate was used for. So in the 70s, that's how kind of power plate became what it is. Oh, look, thank you, Dr. Dan, pulling up some stuff. But that's what we used the power plate for originally. It was rocket science. It was used to maintain bone density because in zero gravity, they just degenerate. They come back and they can't withstand the powers of gravity because they're literally going to collapse because their bones have suffered from so much bone loss. So it absolutely works. And we're talking, you don't need to be doing box jumps on there. You can literally stand on top of the power plate and you're getting ground reaction force. Yep. Stand on it 10 minutes a day. You're going to improve your osteoporosis.
So Laura mentioned you get a discount through FAI. I put this link in the chat. So if you want to grab this link, you can't really grab it off a screen share, but it's powerplate.com/shop/FAI, but it's in the chat. Cool. You can copy it from there.
Thank you.
This is the model that we have at Miracles Fitness.
Yep.
I always forget which, it's the Pro 5
That's
Silver.
The Pro 5. Yep.
So it's got the column here. If you're going to use it with clients, Joy, this is the one that I would really recommend. Unless you're using it with, NFL prospects, then you might want the big boy over here, right? So, we have 2 of these and we get, 300-pound clients up on it. You can hop on it you can.
I was going to say they're rated almost the exact same as far as weight wise and the impact they can withstand. The biggest difference, honestly, between those two models that are up on the screen right now are, as you can see, the head of the model on the right is the one that's a touch screen and has built-in software. So the reason you might want to get that is if you're looking at as a facility owner, you are going to have walk-up traffic where a trainer is not with them. It's a little bit more self-guided because the software is in there and it can walk them through things. But for example, Dan is saying, you know, they have the Pro 5, which is on the left side of the screen.
Yep,
it's
this one
buttons because it's typically trainer-led through the session. So they're not needing that screen itself up there.
It's also, I would say, honestly, Laura, you know, we have, because our clients, you know, are average age 65, 75 using this thing, simpler is better.
Yeah.
You know,
I was going to say, once they've seen it.
Yeah, as a trainer, I can literally say, hey, go do your 5 exercises. I want 30 seconds or 45 seconds. It's super easy to set, you know. This one over here, to me, would probably be, you know, even better if it was, look at this, Larry's going to give us some customer chat here. So this one would be better if you're in like a physical therapy clinic and you want to be able to set the program, leave them and go work with another patient, you know, that sort of thing. The home version, Joy, I'm sure they can give you more information about, you know, because if you primarily just want it for yourself, then, you know, the simpler, you know, home model is much more affordable. But it's not going to give you the column and some of the features here.
The column is really, really nice when we talk about working with aging populations. If for nothing else, even if they feel stable on there, getting up and down from the plate, because it's a good solid 12, 14 inches off the floor. So they can hold on to that and use it to step up. You know, I oftentimes am holding one hand and they're holding the column to help them up onto the power plate. So
Bruce, do you have a question?
Well, no, I use it. I'm at Lifetime, and we have 2 of them, and it's amazing the people that walk up. They think they're like rocket ships or UFOs or something. They don't even want to touch them.
Right.
So walk up to them and it's like, oh my God, what is this? But what I found very beneficial for me is I've studied these, and I use them mainly for cool downs with a lot of my clients. And if you can go up there, and especially you know, mature women from osteoporosis standpoint, if you go and talk to them, I've gained clients, regular training clients, from walking them through the power plate, showing them the benefits, Parkinson's patients too.
Yeah.
And I think knowing this equipment and how beneficial it is, it makes you a subject matter expert and makes you a fitness professional in a lot of ways and can help you gain clients. It's worked very well for me. So I use it every day at Lifetime.
Awesome.
That's awesome to hear. I'd love to address Judy's chat item.
Yep.
So if you guys don't have your chat open, Judy asked, you know, we're using it to do lower body work, some core planks, a little stretching, but you've been unsure how to convince older clients who are afraid of the vibration they feel, especially in their heads. You know what? It is a cliche because it's true. First impressions are so important. So making sure that first impression of the power plate is a pleasant one is really, really crucial, because if you have a bad first impression, you know, you let that vibration travel to the head, although it's not dangerous at all. If it doesn't feel good, people are like, I'm out. So this is, I mentioned that one of the things that I love to do with new clients or someone who has never been on a power plate is have them stretch their hamstring. I do this unloaded. So they have their weight in that leg that's on the floor. The stretching leg is up on the plate so that they have a really pleasant feeling of what that vibration feels like in those first moments on the power plate. And then just that sensation of feeling so much better and seeing an increase in flexibility. So that's positive impression number 1. Number 2, when we think about the science of the plate itself, this idea that it is literally an earthquake or ground reaction force, when we think about jumping, we would never jump with our legs straight and our weight in our heels. The first thing we do when we jump is actually descend. We load our athletic system, that kind of athletic ready position. You're going to hinge at your ankles, your knees, your hips, and get your weight in your toes. Same thing is true when we land. You're bending, you're usually landing in your toes. You have ankles, knees, hips, all in that flexed position. So it's imperative that we have them in those unloaded passive positions first to let them feel the vibration, and then speak to that idea that they need to have their athletic system loaded when they're on top of the plate. And then they can start to play with range of movement on top of the plate to kind of see what feels comfortable for them. Again, it's one of the very, very, very few pieces of equipment in a gym that has had all three of those medical certifications, and B is going to be able to say, hey, there are no contraindications. If you're cleared to be in here, then you can be on top of a power plate. That can't be said for most things in a gym.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think it's critical that people use your wow experience. That's what we've done, right? And I mean, I pulled up a picture of the hamstring stretch.
Yeah.
I do this with people all the time that come in. They're like, well, what's that? Why do I want vibration? I'm like, well, let's just see if you can touch your toes. And they're like, well, I can't touch my toes. Right? I mean, almost 9 out of 10 people. Even I had a trainer I was interviewing this week. He's like, oh, I can't touch my toes. I'm really tight. I'm like, well, watch this, right? And so
let me show you.
Yeah, I mean, I had a gal who's she's interning with us this summer, super flexible, right? No problem putting her fingertips on the floor. After she did the hamstring stretch, she could put her palms on the floor, right? And she was immediately a believer. I never put her on it, right? That was all she got was 2 30-second hamstring stretches. And so I think it's critical with some of our older clients who we know are going to be really leery of, being vibrated and having their head shaking around, that we've got to have them have a great experience first. Like, oh man, that made my hip feel better. That made my hamstrings looser. That, I moved better through my session. Even just doing 2 or 3 minutes of warm up on here, all of a sudden they're like, oh, I moved better through my session today. So then they become a believer. And that's critical.
Yeah. And ultimately we have to default to, what feels good for our clients. And if you know that you have done all of the right things, started with unloaded exercise, or maybe even completely passive, like you're saying, massage, things like that. And then, spoke to them about that athletic ready position, had them on top of the plate, saw that they were doing it, and they still insist that it doesn't feel good. We have to honor that. There are still a lot of great ways to use the power plate and still get benefits from the power plate in those unloaded positions, in those passive positions, without, insisting that these clients be on top of the plate. We can still do a lot of great things. So Judy, I hope that helps to answer or clarify a little bit.
Sandy says, so many applications, so many exercise options, such incredible results in such a short workout session.
Thank you, Sandy. I did not pay her.
I don't know who Sandy is either. I don't, there's really not much that you can't do on the power plate. With the exception of maybe a pull-up. But you can do rows and all sorts of other pulling movements. So, there's pretty much anything you can do on the ground, you can do on the power plate, push-ups and burpees and squats and lunges and step-ups. And you name it, you can do it. Every stretch pattern. So many different things that you can do. I'll tell you, it was one of the fundamental things that our clients missed. And I would even say some clients were like, I'm paying a lot for training and I can't use the power plate. And it was almost like, the training I'm getting online is great training, but I can't use I kept hearing it's not just the power plate. We have some other equipment, Kaiser, and some other things that you can't do via Zoom, but you just realize the power plate piece of equipment is, because there's so much you can do with it. We had clients who we had tremendously changed their hand and wrist arthritis just because they'd come in and spend anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes doing, ground and floor work, push-ups and planks, and, you just massage for their hands and forearms. Well, I can't do that stuff very easily with you, with the exception of you guys do have some tools, for the home user, the pulse gun and the dual sphere and the different toys, We
do. And they were featured briefly. I can actually pull up a larger picture if you guys have a moment. Oh, are you going to do it for me? Great.
Let's see if I can get them
so we do have our 3 kind of portable, perfect.
These guys right here.
Yeah, targeted vibration equipment. And if you look there, those are not to scale. They're shown. Excuse me, I'm going to duck below my desk because I keep them below my desk because
you have them handy.
I roll my feet. So hold, please.
This whole time she's been massaging her feet. So this is a small foam roller. We actually, one of our clients, Laura, who specifically said, I'm missing the power plate and I'm not sure I'm getting the same value I usually get, bought that from us.
Yeah, so
she literally bought our model, right? And I was like, we got to order more.
That's awesome. So this is our roller, and there's a couple of things that I really love because I had a competitor's roller before we launched ours. It has several different, it's rechargeable. So you can plug it into the wall, recharge it. But it's super, super quiet.
Yeah,
I'll put it right on my microphone.
We're not going to be able to hear it.
Yeah. So
it's super quiet until you put it on the floor and put some weight on it. Then it shakes your floor.
Then it does. But it actually has 4 settings. The first 3 increase in intensity, and then the 4th actually is variable. So it's going to go through those first 3 settings. The last thing that I love about this is a little bit different than a lot of rollers is you can see there's little vibration emblems, just like our logo. That's actually to manipulate the tissue, your fascia. So just, when you start to do kind of the twist on the fascia, it's just an additional element. This little one, this is why I really keep it under my desk, because this is so good for the feet. And I actually bought my parents, they're definitely in the active aging. I'm actually almost in the active aging, giving away my age here, but I bought this for my parents for Christmas because they both have such feet problems. And this is so good for plantar fascia. In addition to, again, having, I don't know if you guys can see that, it has the vibration on it.
Yeah.
So it helps with the tissue, but the shape of this is so good for smaller muscle bodies. When we talk about bicep, tricep, even kind of into the chest, it will straddle the spine. So you can roll through the low back on it in addition to feet.
That's what I use it for, low back.
Yeah, the settings on this one, again, 3 levels, increasing in intensity, and then that 4th level is actually a variable one that goes through the first 3. I don't have the gun, the pulse, the one that looks like a hammer, down here at my desk because that one is very popular in my household. And if I had to guess, I would say it's probably up in my 16-year-old daughter's bedroom,
right? Because
she is a competitive soccer player. And she actually was training today with her. She's allowed to train again now with her strength and conditioning coach. And I heard her up there using it earlier today after her session with him. So she was downstairs on our power plate. We're lucky enough to have a Pro 5 unit at our house. I heard the plate downstairs, and then pretty soon I heard the pulse up in her room. So we are fully bought in here at this household as to benefits. I see some more messages popped in.
Yeah, Judy says, thank you for the ideas. We've been trying to give people a great experience in doing unloaded work in proper positions, but there are those who are afraid of the feeling. So thanks for saying that we do have to honor the client's decisions. So I love the power plate, Judy says, and what it can do for improving people's functionings. Yep.
Absolutely.
So do we. We're big believers, obviously. Sandy have been working on the power plate for over 18 years. We used to have group classes at our gym. I've been a trainer for over 30. Glad to see the evolution of power plate to the present. So
that's awesome.
Awesome, Sandy.
Sandy's,
been doing it for quite a while. That's awesome.
That is.
Power plate has been around for 20 plus years. Isn't that right?
Yeah, it has been. And, it's still kind of the world's best kept secret. We're hoping, FAI can work to change that because, if it's good enough for all of these people whose bodies and careers are worth millions of dollars, why aren't we using it on ourselves when we know the benefits through the research? So we want to take it from being a secret to really let's let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah. And let's be honest. I mean, I know some people see the sticker price. They're like, well, gee, $7,000. And I'm like, well, yeah, but you pay $7,000 for a treadmill.
Right. And it's not medically accredited.
Well, no, but and let's be honest, you can walk anywhere. Right. I mean, the treadmill is not giving you something that's like some sort of magical piece of equipment. It's not doing something that you couldn't already do. I'm not belittling treadmills, but we spend a lot of money in fitness centers, training studios, health clubs on really expensive equipment that basically allow us to just run, walk.
I was going to say, do
you
one
know,
thing.
Yeah,
When
do
I
one
know
very dimensional thing. The power plate,
right,
the power
sagittal
plate,
plane.
right? The power plate allows us to do so many more things and get so much bang for our buck. So much more versatile. We can use it in personal training, small group training. Person can use it for 5 minutes to warm up or cool down. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, it's something that should be, not just in every FAI training studio, but I mean, health clubs should have it. And, I think college facilities should have. I know the interesting thing is college facilities have it, but where do they have it? They have it for the athletes, right?
Yeah,
it's like, well, why
they
is it?
do.
Why
It's
is it not?
rarely, it's rarely in
It's
their
not in the
gym.
recreational facilities. Why aren't they letting the students use
They
it too?
keep it for the athletes.
Yeah.
It's the plate truly is kind of a one-stop shop. I will often go through the whole litany of things that I spoke to you guys today, and then trainers will ask me, so can I do this on it? Yes. Can I do this on it? Yes. If you can do it on the floor, you can do it on the plate. Again, you're just going to do it better because you're going to do more repetitions in less time and get other, lots of those other benefits. So, don't let, I think Bruce was the one who said this idea that it's like a spaceship. Don't let that look of it, that it looks so foreign to you, kind of make you have that moment where I don't know what to do. Well, what would you do on the floor? What do you want to do on the floor? Right. It's not a matter of, does this work or can I do it? It's just a matter of how are you going to incorporate this into your own personal workout or into your clients? What goals do you have? So what would make most sense to use the power plate for those goals? Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for your time and for sponsoring the event. You have to check out Laura's session tomorrow. And if you're watching the recording, a week or so from now, there's another session with Laura that you've got to make sure you take a peek at. So, I think power plate alongside Kaiser gives you everything you need to train a top athlete, right? I mean, why is it we see that almost every NFL team has Kaiser and power plate, and Exos that just put the most NFL players in the draft. I mean, they're using power plate and Kaiser, and we should be using that with all of our athletes of every age, and there's huge advantages, especially for the aging clientele. So, Laura, thanks so much. For those of you still on here live, basically we're sort of going to a break. So it's sort of interesting. It's a break, but there's 2 live roundtables happening. So there are 2 rooms you can jump into. Trevor Whitwer of Coach Catalyst is doing a live Q&A on Coach Catalyst and accountability programs. And Cody is doing a live Q&A with our end of the day keynote, Dr. Bruce Greger, as well as Bruce and Mindy Milray, talking about nutrition. So there's 2 different rooms for you to jump into that are live. And that's the last live sessions for the day. So everybody else, we will see you live tomorrow morning. So thanks, Laura.
Thanks, Dan.
Bye-bye.